Now I would like to introduce our keynote speaker for tonight's event. He's considered an expert on the mental game of trading, and we can all know from our own experience just how much of it is psychology. One reason I do love the charts, of course. Our keynote speaker is Dr. Doug Hirschhorn, who has applied the techniques he's learned in pursuing a PhD in sports psychology and has also worked for decades to help individuals and teams at global trading firms and hedge funds to achieve excellence in their performance. Please welcome Dr. Hirschhorn.
Thank you very much. What percent of trading you say is mental? 10%? Raise your hand. I think it's 10%. 20? 30? 50? 50% mental? 50? Do I hear 60? 70. Do I have 7? I got 70 going once. 70? 75. What? What do you got? What do you got? 80. 80? Do I have 80? 80 going once? 80. I got 80 in the corner. 90? We got a 90. Please don't say 100, because it can't be 100. The question I'm going to ask you right now, though, is in an occupation where it requires somewhere between, shall we say, 40 to 70% mental, the question I want to have you ask yourself is, what percent of the time do you spend working on your mental game? Compelling question. What percent of your time do you spend doing the small things that are hard to quantify, but admittedly you all say it's a substantial part of success? I have built a career out of trying to unlock that question and provide strategies and approaches and digestibles that will help people that have a passion for this business achieve their ultimate success. So my background. I have a PhD in psychology with a specialization in sports psychology. People ask me all the time, why do you bother clarifying that? I will tell you very simply right now. What is your name? Yes? Yes?
Jacob.
Jacob. Nice to meet you, Jacob. I'm Doug. Would you like to hear about my personal problems? Who said not really? You cold-hearted person. What I realized a long time ago is that I did not have the chemistry makeup to be a counselor or to be a clinical psychologist. I had a passion for sports, and sports psychology was about helping elite performers unlock their potential to the next level. So I did play Division I baseball in college. I was a catcher. What's unique about catching is it's the only position on the field that you actually see everything. You're involved in every play, and if you're a good catcher, you actually strategically get to call the momentum of the game. You get to assess your pitcher's strengths, the hitter's weaknesses, and optimize the difference between the two to give your team a competitive advantage. My senior year, I herniated a disc in my lower back. Baseball's over. It's quite a turning point for me because my whole life I was the ball player. Got an offer to work on the trading floors in Chicago. Chicago Mercantile Exchange, I believe, where's Mark? Shout out to the Merc. That's where my career started, at the Merc. I was one of those people on the floor you see yelling and screaming like a crazy lunatic. And I thought, this is nirvana. I am getting paid. These people are paying me to yell and compete with other athletes, other like-minded individuals on the floor. What could be better than this? Problem was I hated it. It was only about money. Didn't matter. Nothing else mattered. It was only about how much are you making, how much are you losing, and that was the all-time focus. And I said, you know what? I don't like this, but I don't have the courage to resign or quit. Fortunately, I re-injured my back. Fortunately. Herniated disc, the doctor says, you now have a choice at the age of 27 years old. Either walk again or find a way to sit down and make a living. I said, that is not a hard choice to make, Doc. I'm done. Hate this anyway, walked away with the intentions of being a baseball coach. That's where my career was going. I was going to be poor and happy. I was okay with that. And so I studied the field of sports psychology. And that's where I started to unlock and connect the dots. And I wrote a book called The Trading Athlete. It was about taking traditional sports psychology, visualization, focusing, relaxation, all those things that you hear about in sports psychology, and applying it directly to improve trader performance. Started my doctorate at West Virginia University, then got a job offer to go in-house with a prop trading firm to be there. The job didn't exist, a trading psychology coach. And I thought, awesome. I get to work with people that are competitive, I can use my sports psychology, and I can actually make a living doing this. Let's try that out. So I'm taking the same workshops I use with athletes, the same visualization, the same goal setting, and I'm applying it to traders. After 1 year, you know the feedback I got? We're still losing money, we just feel better about it now. It's not a business model. That's when I started to learn about behavioral finance and cognitive biases. Question. What's the single most important skill for great trading? Sizing trades? Risk management? Trusting your gut? Removing emotions? Establishing game plans? Sticking? You tell me. What do you think is the single most important skill for great trading? Number 3? You can make up your own, by the way. I just put a couple on the board to get you warmed up. Yes? Risk management. What else? Risk management. Anything else? Okay? What's that? Removing emotions. It's a whole different discussion because you can't remove them because we're human. We'll get through that later. Okay? Here's what I think. And this is after doing deep analysis and working intently with some of the biggest names in the business for 15, 16 years. Behind the scenes, I'm like the mechanic. I take apart the engine, they look at it, I say, okay, it should be going better, but I see what's wrong here. Let me clean that out and put it back together. That word right there, edge. That single word is the single most important skill that I have found that differentiates mediocrity from good, good to great, and great to the elite. And it's that single concept, and we're going to spend the next 13 minutes talking about it. Here's my promise to you. My promise to you is you will walk away tonight with something that is immediately actionable. Meaning you can walk out this door, turn your computer on, and I will give you information and a way to think about in a framework that if you put it into action will help you think about how to take risk better, smarter, and more efficiently. But I will give you a little asterisk here. I'm very interactive. I'm going to get you involved. But I'm not here to embarrass anybody. So if you don't want me to call on you, I'm pretty good with social cues. Stare straight down. I won't call on you. But if you're staring at me, you're free game. Because I can't read minds. You might be spacing out like that guy is right there, but he's staring at me. And I'm going to call on him if I want to. And then you can say, I was spacing out, Doug. I say, no problem, we'll go to someone else. Fair enough? Good. So just so we're clear, when I say edge, I am not talking about black edge. I'm not talking about that. I know edge turned into somewhere along the way, it turned into a dirty 4-letter word. I am talking about a mathematical framework. A mathematical framework based on probability, weighted decision making. This is not rocket science, this is not complex. It's a very simple thought process. And that concept, that simple concept, is what makes great traders great. So let's play a game. I need a volunteer. But here are the conditions. That volunteer actually has to have at least $1 on them. Fair enough? Who wants to help me out? I'll wait. You want to come up here? Great, come on up. Hi, I'm Doug. Ethan? Yeah. Good to meet you. Give me 1 second, Ethan. But don't step in here. It's going to hurt you. And, you know, no, you're good. No, you're killing me. Stay right there. We're good. You're good. Let me get something for you. Can I get that stool? Ethan, you have $1 on you? All right. Thank you very much. This is so you all can watch. It's going to be a good one. Pay attention, I promise. Trust me, I'll make it worth your time, Ethan. Where are you going?
Right here.
You're good. You're good. All right, let's play a game. I have 3 quarters. This is not a magic trick. Okay, I have 3 quarters here. Not a magic trick. We're talking about the concept of edge. Ethan, right?
Yeah.
Ethan, can you please pick one of the quarters? Sure. No, not that one. I'm just kidding. They're all the same. Okay. There you go. It's funny to see how someone does that. There, it's not just validate that it's heads and tails. Yep. Yes? Everybody, it's heads and tails? Great. Let's play a game, Ethan. My dollar versus your dollar. Here are the rules of the game. You hold the coin. You flip the coin. You call heads or tails. If you get it right, you get my dollar. If you get it wrong, I get your dollar. Would you like to play that game?
Why not?
Awesome. Please raise your hand if you'd like to play that game. Who said no? You're being difficult. It's my time on stage, not yours. You'll have your moment. Raise your hand if you play that game. Go ahead. And I will tell you right now, I'm going to poke fun, but it's so you can learn. It's an educational experience. I'm not going to call anybody up on stage. Don't worry about that. We're already done with that. We got Ethan. But if you would play that game, raise your hand. Be honest, intellectually honest. Most people play that game because it's just what? Is anybody thinking it's just $1 I'll play that game? Great. Worst answer in the world, and I'll show you why. Go ahead and write down right now on a piece of paper. We'll get you in a second. Write down on a piece of paper. Everybody write down. I got a method behind my madness. Don't worry about it. What's a lot of money for you to spend on dinner for 2 people? What's a lot of money for you to spend on dinner for 2 people? Go ahead and write that number down. Don't show anybody. Now I have an anchoring problem here. You know what anchoring is? The problem I have now is I'm going to call on somebody. If they give me a low number, the person with the high number is going to feel like an idiot and not want to say it. And if I call on someone, they have a high number, everyone's going to look at that person really funny, and the low person's not going to want to say anything either because they're going to be embarrassed. There's about 130 people here. I'm not going to call on everybody. We'll just ballpark it. If you picked above 500, raise your hand. Okay? If you picked above 1,000, raise your hand. Anybody? 700, 750, in that range? There we go, we got you. What's your name? Von Marie? Von Marie. Nice to meet you. Anybody, if you put less than $100, raise your hand. Anybody have less? There we go, less than 100. And what's your name? Arthur? So I've assessed by this sample that Von Marie is the richest person in the world, in this room for sure, and you are broke. Is that a fair assessment? Of course not. But what have I just done? I've just extracted information, and I know now what about these individuals? I know their what? Their risk tolerance. Let's go back to this question. Ethan, should you play this game? That's a different question, because I'm making it a math question. Who said there's bad odds? Back in the corner. What was your name? 100% correct right there. What does he mean by that, though? There's 2 parts of the equation. There is the coin, and then there is the payout. Does he have a mathematical advantage? There's no edge. Where's that magic word? I'm loving that person. There's no mathematical advantage to playing this game. As a matter of fact, if you play this game, it's because you're bored or want to be entertained. You want to be entertained? Go to Vegas. Why do you trade? Why do you trade? Why do you trade? Does anybody here trade for any reason other than to make money? I didn't think so. Interesting thought. We could do this all day long, Ethan, right? And what's going to happen is we're going to trade that dollar all day long, and you're not going to make any money. As a matter of fact, if I charge you 5 cents to play that game, what happens? I'm now a casino. I get to build buildings in the desert. Do you realize that? Has anybody been to Vegas? They build buildings, they air condition them with the doors wide open. I don't understand the concept. Nothing's supposed to live or grow in a desert, yet they have created this whole world, this subculture on sand because of this simple concept. And what I want you to think about is I want you to separate your personal valuation system. It doesn't matter what you think is a lot of money, because if you say to me, well, I play because it's just $1, then I know by definition that if I said it was 100 versus 100, you'll say, no, I'm not playing that because it's too much. It's a math question. In this example, does Ethan have any edge? Lesson number 1, no edge, no trade. No edge, no trade. Let's play a little differently here. Here's a nickel. Same game. You flip it, you call it, Ethan. You get it right? Don't do it yet. You get $1.05. You get it wrong, you lose $1. Would you like to play that game? Would you like to play the game? Sure. Was anybody here thinking, and it's okay if you were, because most people think, not really worth my time. It's only 5 cents. Was anybody thinking about that? I know you're in the room. If you were thinking about that, what I'm going to say to you is, what % return does that example give us? Half the time, 5%, so it's net a 2.5% return. If I told you for the rest of your life you could get a 2.5% return on any amount of money you wanted, what would you say to me? Is there a ghost in the room? You would probably say to me, 2.5%, well, I could probably get a higher percentage somewhere else. If it was guaranteed for the rest of my life, I know odds that say build buildings in the desert. I'm happy to do that forever, for infinity. That's what I call having a small. Who said too low? Raise your hand. There you go. A small edge, right? That's a small edge. I now have, keep your hands in your pocket, okay? $487. Like play that game? Same rules. Flip the coin. You get it right, you get my $487.05. You get it wrong, I get your $1. Of course you would. You were degenerate and you played the first place when it was 1-to-1. Now, his eyes light up because he's seeing what? The payout. What have I manipulated this example? This very simple example. You're all smart, highly educated people, professionals, market enthusiasts, successful people. I'm showing a simple little matrix to think about. Adding simple math to your process gives you a mathematical advantage. I want you to separate the emotions of who you are from the reality of the math. In this example, he should play this game forever because he has a small edge, no edge, or big edge? Big edge, huge edge. Do you know what separates the little thing? You know what 45 to 55% represents? 45 to, have you ever heard that? 45 to 55% in the trading world. Have you heard that expression? That is the average winning percentage of discretionary trading. I'm not making that number up. It's not even my opinion. That's what the math showed repeatedly from the risk management department at some of the largest funds in the world. Didn't matter if you were the best trader or the worst trader, 45 to 55% was the average winning percentage. So how in the world can you make a lot of money if you only win about half the time? Thank you. Who said it? You trade when you have big edge. You don't trade when you have no edge. And when you have small edge, you trade small. It's not the winning percentage. It's the payouts. And when you have big edge, you're still going to lose half the time, but that's the game you play. The problem is you get caught up because you're scared, worried you missed something, afraid. All those emotions are specific to you. The market does not know your position. I have yet to see, and I've done a lot of TV, I have yet to see your portfolio on the screen behind me. I haven't seen that. I've seen a lot of other stuff. The market doesn't know your positions. You know it, and you make decisions based on that, sometimes for good reasons, but most of the times for emotional reasons that get you caught up into thinking to yourself, I can't do this trade because if I do, X, Y, or Z might happen. Ethan, what's the one question you want to ask yourself anytime you're making a trading decision? What's the one question that you want to think about? And today, you found your edge. Give him a round of applause. Thank you. Thank you very much, Ethan. What are you? Really, dude? Where I put my clicker? It's over here. Pop quiz time. Who said maybe? Who said yes? Where are you? Raise your hands. You said yes? 95% is pretty good, right? Great, let's play the game. Every time you win, I'll give you $1. When you lose, you give me $1 million. Oh, you don't want to play it now, do you? What did you forget to ask yourself? Thank you. That's it. Slow down the thinking process. That's all you got to do. And by the way, this applies to every decision you make in life. Every decision. Whether to buy a house, whether to walk to work, whether to get on an airplane, whether to get married. You just do it very fast in your head. But you're doing the same thing. You're asking yourself, what are the odds of it working and not working? And then if it works, what's the upside? If it doesn't work, what's the downside? You do it all the time. What I simply want you to do is with your trading process, slow it down. So you can give yourself the competitive advantage that justifies all the work you put in. And to go back to the very beginning, the reason why I think edge is the single most critical skill is because it covers them all. It's one word that covers them all. It sets the foundation for a stable, repeatable, and consistent process. It quantifies your level of conviction for doing a trade. It systematically determines the sizing of your trade. Big edge, big trade. Small edge, small trade, no edge. And it dramatically improves your risk management in the end. And remember, no edge, no trade. Small edge, small trade. Big edge, big trade. I want to thank you all for having me here tonight. It was my pleasure. Ethan, thank you very much for your participation.